Welcome to the Thornton Review.
The show designed with you in mind. If it's important to you, it's important to us.
Hi, I'm Pueschel, Schneier, executive producer and manager of the Thornton Review. Thank you for tuning in. Our guest on today's show is Ida Gates of Godly Teas, LLC. Ida came on the show last year when her trademark was in the process of being registered. So we're going to do a recap and find out just how successful she's been. So Ida, thank you for coming on. It's great to have you again. You're a really good friend of mine. So please introduce yourself.
I'm Ida Gates of Godly Teas, and I'm very glad to be here today.
Thank you. So we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll begin our discussion with Ida and her journey on registering her trademark. There is no government-funded program that can guide a man's thoughts. Only God can do that. Ida Gates was born in Los Angeles, California. She relocated to Miami, Florida, and earned her bachelor's degree in communications. She began her teaching career and cross-media advertising for Christian causes and media mogul Tom Joyner and Christmas Gala. Ida applied to register her trademark, Godly Teas, LLC, in March of 2023. It was a long process that became officially registered on January 23rd of this year. Since then, she's been telling her story and has had successful sales of her t-shirts and campaign t-shirts for local races. She's been married to her husband for 10 years and currently works as a program assistant for Arc Gateway and Pollock Industries as a program assistant for adults with disabilities. So Ida, thanks for coming on. Let's start at the very beginning. You've had a successful teaching career. You've been married for 10 years. What sparked the phrase, there's no government-funded program that can guide a man's thoughts, only God can do that?
I'm often known for my philosophical thoughts about life, about the meaning of life, where God serves his purpose, where God fits in. Mm-hmm. So it was just an original thought. And if I were to encourage anyone to get on the road to putting together a trademark, let it be an original thought, because the chances of it being from someone else's mind is highly unlikely. Mm-hmm. So here's my thoughts. And mm-hmm. I said to my husband, that's something that I see, mm-hmm. especially during the previous administration, how everyone turns to government instead of turning to God, and that was a pattern that I continue to see mm-hmm. among most Americans in this country. And I said to myself that God gives us talents, gifts, and abilities to prosper, to use for his glory, mm-hmm. to do those things. And I just decided to sit down and talk with an attorney friend of mine mm-hmm. who helped me to file the application from an attorney's perspective. Mm-hmm. And once I grasped the concept of it, I sat down and I took my time and I went on the USPTO website and followed the steps to file it from an individual perspective. Mm-hmm. And months went by, and eventually an attorney was assigned to it.
Okay.
About 8 to 9 months later. And he said to me that if on a national level, if it faces no scrutiny for 30 days, then that's a very good indication. Mm-hmm. So it faced no scrutiny on a national level after 30 days. Mm-hmm.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. So far, so good.
Yeah.
And he said, go ahead and put your specimen in. Your specimen is basically proof that how it's going to go into commerce. Is a specimen that you upload.
Like a T-shirt or a mug.
On a T-shirt. It can be a website. It can be a business card. It can be any of those things.
Okay.
So I chose my business cards. I had some business cards drafted out of West Virginia. And he said, okay, if it says this specific thing, then I can go ahead and approve it. And so I went through the hoops, and he told
hurry
me
up and wait.
Yeah, the wait. I would say the most consuming part is the wait.
Yeah.
And
so I remember talking to you throughout that time.
Yes.
I would call you. Has it gone through yet?
Yes. Still waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, still waiting, because Washington is known to be a bit slow. So he got back with me, and he said, I had one more time, if you could just do this or do that. And I said, okay, he's giving me another chance. So I fulfilled it. And lo and behold, to fast forward to December of last year.
Just almost a year ago.
Yes, almost a year ago. I considered it a Christmas gift.
Oh, yeah.
I was in Mississippi's Gulf Coast with my husband when I received this email from the USPTO stating that it was on the road to registration. And they gave me a definitive date.
How exciting.
Yes, yes. And that was when, on January 23rd of this year, it became a registered mark. And upon the USPTO sending me that, I was able to print out my registration certificate. And it was quite an accomplishment. It was a long road, but I was thankful to the Lord for every step of the way. But now it's official. So yes.
So let's break it down. There's no government-funded program that can guide a man's thoughts. So what would be an example that you're talking about here as far as a government-funded program?
Oftentimes, taxpayers' dollars are taken to go places where it doesn't want to go or where it shouldn't go. And it seems that
I can agree with that.
Yes, it goes to places where where the taxpayer doesn't want it to go.
Yes.
And one of those things I often saw was through federal housing and also through food. So that would be two of the biggest issues. If someone is able-bodied, then you got up and you provided for your family. And it also lends way to the sanctity.
That's biblical.
That's biblical. You provide. As a matter of fact, that is 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10.
If a man shall not work, he shall not eat.
That's correct. That's correct. To the exception of a few. Yeah, I get that. I'm not totally...
Yeah, if someone's disabled, obviously.
And I work with clients who are adults with disabilities. They're the exception. But if you're able-bodied, you provided for your family, and you didn't look for the government to give you another $500 a month. Unfortunately, there's a policy in place of a man in home. And if they found a man in your home, then that was when they took that money back. So it destroyed the marriage relationship that God had always intended from the very beginning of time.
Are you talking about kind of earlier in the 1900s? During
Just
maybe
period.
the Johnson administration, or when
Yes.
they started handing out welfare checks? And
That's correct. That's correct. It destroyed the home.
So, around the turn of the century, Pensacola was booming with business owners and families and church-going families and children making good grades. And then sometime around the 40s or 50s, it kind of changed with the welfare system. And like you said, it broke up families, because what's the point in being married when I can raise my children without my husband? Yeah, that's what happened.
Yes, it does.
But there's plenty of opportunity today. Everybody has equal opportunity to get a job,
Yes.
start a business.
Yes.
You're an example. I'm a business owner. I'm an
Yes.
example.
Yes.
So only God can do that. So only God can guide a man's thoughts. Are you saying that we need to read the Bible and let God guide us through life?
Take him at his word.
Mm-hmm.
What he has said in his word, we read day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
But how much do we really believe that?
Mm-hmm.
If we take him at his word,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll understand God's nature. And the more you understand God's nature, the more you understand the role.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Take him at his word.
So you've been selling T-shirts,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been also working on local campaigns to sell T-shirts. Can
Yes.
you tell us a little
Sure.
about that journey and how you got started with the T-shirts?
I had a designer for a couple of years who would print this very registered mark on, and she's been on this journey with me. Her name is Lisa, and I'm not going to give her last name. Her name is
Yeah.
Lisa. She's been my graphic designer.
I've spoken with Lisa a few times.
yes, you have. She had been my graphic designer
Mm-hmm.
even before it was registered.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I took the shirts and I would go to markets, and I'll fast forward to this year. I would sell a T-shirt here and there, and my administrator of the principal of the school, her sister was the principal. She helped me set up the website.
Okay.
Her sister was the principal, and my designer helped me set up the website.
God Over Government, FYI.
.fyi.
Yeah, so it's
yeah.
www.godovergovernment.fyi.
FYI for your information.
What all do you have on the website? T-shirts and mugs? And,
Yes, I have T-shirts. I have mugs.
can people order through the website?
They can.
Oh,
They
okay.
can. The most popular way would be to contact me because they have an immediate contact. But if someone were to go on the website, then I will fulfill that order. Yes.
So you do your phrase. You have T-shirts with your phrase. There's no
Yes.
government-funded program that can guide a man's thoughts. Only God can do that. What other types of T-shirts do you have?
My husband inspired me to come up with scripture T-shirts because it's a branch of godly tees. It's a branch of. So he said, Ida, why don't you put put God's word on scripture, God's word on T-shirt? And I said, okay, that sounds like a pretty viable idea, and it's gone over very well.
Good.
So with the public can identify with God's word on T-shirt. And I had the privilege of going out to Santa Rosa to have my T-shirts at the market on Saturday
Okay,
mornings.
uh-huh.
And
Is that in Gulf Breeze?
that's in Milton.
Milton, okay.
Milton. It's on the property of Woodbine Baptist Church.
Okay.
And that's where I would go. And individuals would resonate with that registered mark and have purchased some shirts.
Okay.
And it also opened up the doors to me getting contacts to design shirts for political campaigns.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations on
thank
that.
you,
'Cause-
thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. So it's opened up those doors, and having very happy customers, and also to say that it was the person who ran for office, whose T-shirts I did design, actually won.
Good.
So it was a
Well.
win for it was a win for the city of Milton.
Yeah.
But those are doors and opportunities that God has opened for me.
Well, congratulations.
Yes,
I'm
thank
happy to
you.
hear that.
Thank you.
So you can do onesies for babies and infants,
I can.
boys and girls.
Yes.
Some of your T-shirts have rhinestones on them. Some of them just have wording. Can you obviously you can custom design T-shirts. Somebody can contact you and say, I want a T-shirt that says this,
Yes.
and their own
Yes.
wording or maybe a name.
That can be done. Yes. As a matter of fact, I had a friend who lives in Santa Rosa, and there was a wake of some pro-Palestinian protesters that came on the campus. And it
Where
was
it? Where?
It was on the campus of Ole Miss,
Okay.
out in Mississippi. Out in Mississippi, there was a campaign, pro-Palestinian
That's
campaigns.
kind of a strange
Yeah.
place to have a pro-Palestinian
It was a very unlikely place to have one
yeah,
there
I
in
know.
Mississippi.
Who would know? Who would think of that? They had one when I was in D.C., but that was to be expected.
Sure, in a very left-leaning area. Yes, in a very conservative-leaning area. That was very odd.
But it was a college campus, so
Free speech, okay, that's fine. She sparked something in me. She said, "Ida, put this in a shirt," and it was America First, America Since. So what I did is I put a flag on the pocket, and it was a strong statement in wake of what was going on that said, support the country you live in, or live in the country you support.
I love it.
Yes.
That is so blunt and to the point, and it's so realistic and logical. But sometimes you can't use logic with people like that. So
no. So, but it's to the point. So,
right, if they're supporting Palestine, which isn't even a real country, they can go over there and support Palestine.
Absolutely,
make it Palestine great again.
Absolutely.
Not that it ever was great or ever will be great, but if you support it, you can go try.
Exactly. Hence the message on a T-shirt. It was very to the point. So
I love it.
Yes, I did too. So I said, okay, I'll put that on there for her. But I'm still promoting God. But at the same token, if someone wants me to promote this beautiful country that has Judeo-Christian values, then sure, I'll make that exception. Yes.
I like that. So should we show some of your T-shirts?
Sure, you can.
Okay. So here's a onesie. You want to hold it up for the camera?
Yes.
I love that. It says, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but it says, cutest pumpkin in the patch. And it's on rhinestone. It is so cute.
Yes.
And you can make these for boys and girls.
I sure can.
You had a boy.
I had a boy and I sold it. Yes, I did.
So we've got that one that's really cute. Love it. And I hope I'm folding it right. And I love this one also. I love the color. So this is for breast cancer awareness. You want to hold that one up since you're on the... I wear pink for someone I love in my life. And it's got the heart, the rhinestone heart on the pocket, and it's got the breast cancer awareness ribbon.
Yes. And that one sold went over pretty well, but it's sentimental. So because it is sentimental, it meant a lot for a loyal patron to have it. So I made that possible for her. Yes.
And then, of course, you have there's no government-funded program that can guide a man's thoughts. Only God can do that. And it has the little R because that is the registered trademark.
It's a registered mark. Yes. Yes.
That's so exciting. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
You've got some Trump shirts.
Upon request, yes. Upon request,
and you
yes.
have, scripture shirts.
Yes, things for children. Yes, yes.
But take heart, I have overcome the world.
Yes, yes.
John 16:33.
My husband's idea. Yes, but it was a great one. Yeah.
So what's next?
Well, we'll see. I would say to form a partnership with individuals is great, but my goal is to get a partnership with the pro-life.
Okay.
Nonprofit. And I'm currently attempting to gain the trust of one. So it's to form partnerships, not to ever forget, because I never will, yourself included, of my patrons, but to form a partnership.
Sure.
So if I can form a partnership promoting God and His nature and His values, then my work will be accomplished.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
So we're going to take a commercial break, but I'd like to remind our viewers that the Thornton Review is a civic engagement show with a purpose to spread awareness by interviewing local elected officials and professional leaders. This is information you won't get anywhere else. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Ida Gates, Godly Teas LLC. There is no government-funded program that can guide a man's thoughts. Only God can do that. So when people go to your website, so what is it? www.godovergovernment.fyi.
Yes, www.godovergovernment.fyi.
Okay.
Yes.
So people go to your website, or they can call you.
Yes, they can.
Is your phone number on the website?
It is.
We want to drive people to the website.
Yes, yes, yes.
I hope everybody just checks out your website. So do you have different buttons you can click on the website? Let's break down the
Yes. So if someone sees something on the website, they'll click on it. And after it's clicked on, they'll make a choice of what size shirt they would like to have.
Okay.
What I would strongly encourage is for anyone, before they make a choice, to go ahead and register. Because if I get a notification of someone registering on my website that they signed up, I'll get an email, and I
Okay.
can send them an official thank you.
Perfect.
Then after they have registered, if they choose to, they can register, but also they should just go on and simply purchase. And once they complete their purchase, that is when I'll get an email I'll get a notification email, I'll get a notification email, and I can go ahead and fulfill that order.
Okay. What's the turnaround time?
I would say the turnaround time would be no later than 14 days.
Okay, so about 2 weeks.
Yes, no later.
Okay. And will they get it? Will the T-shirt be shipped to you or to them?
They can have the T-shirt shipped to them,
Okay.
or I can get a notification, and once I get the notification, then the shirt can be I will get notification of it. If I have it in my inventory, I'll ship it to them. So that's another option.
So that would be a quicker turnaround time.
That would be a faster turnaround time if I mail it out. Yes.
What about for large quantities? Like, what's the highest quantity you can do? Like, if someone has, a campaign, a local politician or, candidate has campaign T-shirts they want designed,
Okay.
What would be the turnaround time for that, and how many can you have done?
Well, normally you wouldn't see campaign T-shirts on my website because it's all things promoting God. So, but if they contact me directly,
It would be a special order. Okay.
it would be a special order. So if they contact me directly, as some have, through word of mouth or business cards floating around,
Yeah.
then I can go ahead and have that done. For example, for one campaign, it was a total of 6 T-shirts, and what they would
It was
do
like the
was
team.
yeah, it was a team. Yes, it's a team.
Yeah.
So they would tell me what they want on the shirts, and we would communicate either through phone or through email. So whichever is convenient for them. So the campaign that I was working with had either a Memphis blue or royal blue. You tell me what you want it to look like, and then I can give my consultations on what it should say, after listening to their story.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think it's just fun that the person who you created the T-shirts for won their election.
Oh,
That's
that was
great.
Yes, it was. Yes. And there's no stronger way to make a remark about anything than with a T-shirt. Sure.
Right.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
T-shirt.
And especially when you're knocking on doors, and you're representing someone, it's just a great idea for candidates to have T-shirts made for their team and for any volunteer who's going to go knocking on doors for them, or to just wear around in public.
Absolutely. So and also to piggyback from that, the results for that were really positive because I was taken by the wife of the candidate, and was introduced to different folks and handed out business cards, and they said, "Oh, I wish I had known you about 8 or 9 months ago."
Right.
But that is the seed that has been planted for me to be a voice for them through apparel.
Well, I hope it just grows and expands for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It
Thank
probably
you.
will.
Yes. Thank you.
So now, what made you decide on T-shirts specifically, as opposed to like ball? Do you have ball caps? And I know you have coffee mugs. What all do you have?
I have T-shirts because I do have a connection to someone who can produce a ball cap. But it's just strictly apparel, T-shirts. It can be dresses, So that's the next thing I most likely will launch: dresses, onesies, but just apparel. Because on the site, like for my registration, it has to be apparel. It has to be apparel. Yes.
Oh, okay.
It has to be apparel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because of the trademark registration, it's got to be apparel. Okay.
It's earmarked for apparel.
Okay. Is a ball cap considered apparel?
It is.
Okay.
It is. It is.
Is a coffee mug considered? No, I'm joking.
No, it's not. It's not considered apparel, but I'll make the exception so long as apparel is in the equation. Yes. Yeah.
I liked your coffee mug, the God line government. I got it. Like I got it immediately when I saw it, and I was like, "That's great." Yeah.
Thank you for your support.
God over government.
Over government. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. If I may say something, I'm reminded of Dr. Thomas Sowell. He said something very profound, and one of the things that he said in becoming successful is to equip yourself with a skill that people are willing to pay for. So as long as God is being promoted and also someone's values are being promoted, that as much as it means something to them, it means the same to me. And that's something that people are willing to pay for. But even then, my prices are reasonable. But I got the point of his wisdom on success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I can't congratulate you enough. It's so exciting.
Thank you.
And I knew you for years before the journey, and I've known you through the journey, and I've seen you grow and expand, and you're creating your brand.
Thank you.
And that's exciting to see someone have their brand flourish, and that just came out of their own thinking.
Yeah.
Completely original thought.
Yes. Thank you.
So, how old were you when you left California?
Oh, I was 14.
Okay, so you pretty much grew up in California. You have very strong memories, I'm sure, of middle school, elementary school, preschool, and early childhood.
Yes.
What part of California were you in?
Los Angeles. And to narrow it down, I get jokes for this, but I grew up in the city of Compton.
Okay.
And
I've never been to California, I have to admit. I don't know anything about Los Angeles except I know there's a Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. And that's where they film the movies. And I know that. I know that there's a real, the upscale elite. But I'm sure there's also every city has, the little middle of the road and then the street dwellers.
Yes, that is correct. Yes, that's correct. And I consider myself of having the best of both worlds because my father, he was a very successful supervisor for the Los Angeles branch of the post office.
Wow.
And he lived in the Wilshire district, which was considered the suburbs. But at the same token, I grew up across the tracks where I was not taught to be a spoiled brat. I was taught to think highly of myself, but not to be entitled. Regardless of what the circumstances were, not entitled, but hard work and is what helped me to maintain a humble attitude, but not an attitude of entitlement. No.
Okay, so you moved to Miami.
I did.
What was the town? Avondale.
When I first moved here,
I can never remember the name of that town.
That's okay.
That's where we took David for NatCon.
Yes, you too, Aventura.
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 Yeah.
You
I
took
know
them
you'd
to
remember. Yeah.
the northeast suburbs of Miami.
That was a beautiful,
Yes.
kind of a swanky place. That
Very
was like kind of the
swanky.
high class place.
Yes.
And the hotel that we were at was just amazing, where they had the convention.
Yeah.
So lots of limousines, lots of, Mercedes Benz and Rolls Royces and
yes.
top of the line everything. And the
Yes.
mall there was amazing. Like they
Yes.
had designer stores.
They did. It did. Yeah.
It was wild.
It was.
It wasn't like
something else.
it wasn't like Pensacola.
But you know what?
I wasn't in Kansas anymore.
No. Because I remember you
was
posting
fun.
pictures on Facebook. Yeah. It is, and again, Miami, the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Los Angeles, the best of both worlds. Miami, the best of both worlds. Because when we first moved there, I lived in northeast Miami-Dade, and that was North Miami, which was just south of the suburbs, and then also lived in the hood, so it was Opelika, Miami Gardens. So again, in both cities respectively, it was the best of both worlds. Yes.
And you went to high school there.
I did.
Was it a good high school? Was it a public high school?
I got in by the skin of my teeth.
Uh-huh.
I get
really?
it, but it was a Corporate Academy North.
Okay.
And
So a private school or just
alternative.
okay.
I got
But
it by
you
the
had to like pass a test or pass some sort of or
alternative. I got in by the skin of my teeth because I needed. After the passing of a parent, my grades started to. I needed more one-on-one, and that was when I was a good student. I didn't get expelled. I did not. But at the same token, I needed more one-on-one. So the high school that I attended at first was Burger King Academy, which personally I thought it was kind of cheesy for a high school student.
Right.
So by the time I got there, it was a Corporate Academy. And it was smaller classroom settings where I did get the opportunity to thrive. I did. So from there, it was college. But that was it. But usually that type of alternative school or for students who have consistently made bad choices. But somehow, no, that's why I got it by the skin of my teeth.
I would never guess in a million years.
No, that's why I got in, because I was a good student, but I just needed more smaller teacher to student ratio.
A lot of successful people, you know, kind of were a little wild in their earlier years, or, you know.
Yeah.
But you seem like the type of person, you're intelligent, you're focused, and you seem to have had nurturing, because you know, I don't know too much about people's psyche, but it seems like there are people who are driven and determined no matter what their circumstances are,
right.
And then there's other people who are entitled and lazy and think everything should be handed to them no matter what their circumstances are, because you have people who kind of grew up in an entitled
right.
household who didn't act that way, who were driven and focused, and then you vice versa. You have people who grew up in very poor, families where maybe it was a broken family, maybe the dad was in and out of jail,
Right.
and the child grew up focused and determined.
Yes.
So you have both.
Yes.
You have families where the parents are focused and determined, and the kids just grow up and just don't really care.
Right.
And end up on drugs, end up living on the street. You see it here in Pensacola. It's all over the country,
Sure.
which is something we need to work on.
Yes.
You have mothers who have more than one child with different dads. Where's the dad? So we need to focus on bringing families together, keeping them together.
Right.
Once you're married to someone, you have a child, you're together. It's
Right.
biblical.
Right.
And this country needs to get back to basics on
Right.
that.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on that? Because I love the way you explain things.
No, thank you. I'm very humbled by that comment. I wholeheartedly agree. For example, I was born out of wedlock. I came in I was born out of wedlock, but I decided
But you knew your father, right?
Oh,
you
very
lived,
close.
You lived
We were
with your
very
mother,
close.
and you knew your father.
Very close. My father and I were very close. And he came from the culture that marriage was important. He often told me that success was nothing without having someone to share it with.
Okay,
And so he dropped those pearls of wisdom on me. At the time that my mother, she was a good woman. At the time that I lost her, I was a teenager, so marriage, the talk of marriage was not on the table. So,
Right.
but my father and I were very, very close. And my grandfather and my grandparents, they practically raised me once I got to Miami.
Okay.
But my father was ever involved and ever engaged in my life. So he showed me firsthand how to be treated.
Good.
Yeah. So that played a huge role in his relationship with God. That played a huge role of where I am today because of his example. So I will always be very grateful for that. And thank God for him for the 30 years that I had him. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were a teenager, you lost your mother, and you were living with your grandparents at the time and in high school, and you went through a very hard time.
It was
and
tough.
It was a very
Yeah.
hard struggle, and so you ended up in the alternative school, but then you flourished.
Yeah.
So you must have had somebody in your life or teachers at the school that helped you to keep a level head, or to get back to that level head that you were raised with.
Right.
And then you graduated college with your degree, and then you went on to teaching and communications.
Yes. Yeah.
So when I met you, you were teaching
Yes, I was.
children,
I was.
like
I was,
kindergarten or
Yes. It took some energy, but it was worth the effort.
yeah.
So I would
And
say
I could tell you loved your students.
I did.
And
I
you
did.
nurtured them, and I would have loved to have been in your class when I was little. I'll tell you, I'm sure those kids will remember you for their entire lives. I have some teachers that I had when I was little that I will never forget. I'll never forget some of the things they said to me and the way they treated me.
Yeah. So my work in that respect is done if I can reach a child, and it starts at home. You know, it's not the funding and the programs, but it starts at home.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
It starts at home. So here I am, thanks be to God.
When I was on
Yeah.
county PTA, or when I was the PTA president at my son's school, a lot of the focus is what can the schools do?
Right.
Obviously it takes good teachers. It takes getting back to basics and teaching reading, writing, and math, and keeping the social issues out.
Absolutely.
But a teacher that can nourish a child with wisdom
Yes.
and emotional support when they need it,
Yes.
and just the way they handle situations in the classroom. If you have a teacher that yells at the class or or yells at a certain kid, sometimes maybe the kid needs to be yelled at, but overall it needs to be level-headed. And
Right.
like I said, there's teachers that I will always remember the way they treated me. And I think that's very important.
Yes.
And I don't even know where I was going with that. I had a point that I was going to make, but I got sidetracked with something. But when I was in PTA,
Yes.
for 4 or 5 years that I was in PTA, a lot of the questions and struggles were, it's a failing school. What can the school do for it to
Right.
not be a failing school?
Right.
And I'm specifically talking about Warrington.
Yes. Yeah.
Elementary and middle school has issues. It starts at home,
It does.
and that's bottom line. It starts at home. If the parents aren't doing what the parents are supposed to do, the school is going to fail.
That's correct.
Kids are not going to be going to bed at midnight or 2 a.m., watching junk on TV and eating junk food and then not having breakfast and having nobody when they get off the bus to help them do their homework and to have structure and a schedule. Children thrive on structure.
They do.
They need structure in the family. They need
Right.
structure in the household. They need a time structure. They need an agenda. They need a schedule. And even me as an adult, I grew up on a schedule. My parents were kind of strict about bedtime, the time we ate dinner. I got off the bus, would go home. My mom was always home because she was a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
Did my homework. If I needed help with my homework, she was right there to help me with my homework. I really rarely needed help with the homework, but I got it done. I got my homework done. That was the very first thing I ever did. Right. Then I could kind of do whatever I wanted to do, talk with my friends on the phone, go play with some friends, eat a snack, watch TV, whatever. But then dinner was on the table at a certain time. When I was really young, there was reading. There was, bath time, reading time, and then bedtime. That's 8 o'clock bedtime. My parents were strict about that until I was in the 10th grade, and I was rebellious, and I said, I'm staying up till 10.
Yeah. Yeah, yes.
Or at least, when I got a little older, at least if I was in my bedroom being quiet,
that was
at
good
8,
enough.
Yeah.
That was good enough.
Then I'd fall asleep by 10 anyway.
Yeah.
But that's what we need to get back to is structure in the family, structure at home.
Right.
Schools are structured. Everything is on a timeline in school. They're on a schedule. They're on a time schedule.
Right.
They have snack at a certain time. They have lunch at a certain time. They have PE at a certain time. They have play at a certain time. Right. They have their courses at a certain time. Reading, writing, and math is always at the same time every day.
That's right.
And kids are on a structured schedule at school.
Yes.
They need to be in a structured schedule at home.
Right.
And I can't say that enough. And so if the kids aren't on a structured schedule at home, it doesn't matter if they're on a structured schedule at school. They're not going to do good.
No.
They're going to be rebellious. They're going to be hungry. They're going to be tired. They can't focus.
Right.
They're thinking about issues going on at home.
Yeah.
So what's your take on all of that?
It's true. It's. I remember. I just remember on the last day of school during the 2020. Going into the 2023, at the end of the 2023 school year, when I sat down and I had a parent-teacher conference, I can find the good in any kid.
Right.
Any
of course,
kid.
Yeah.
And if you want that parent to open up, I'll call it was like Clint Eastwood. It was the good, it was the bad, it was the ugly. Let's get the solution. But give a parent something good to hear about their kid, and they'll be more receptive to hear what you have to say.
Right.
And I can see the good in any kid. But at the end of the day, honestly, there were some parents that I had extremely low expectations of because they were not engaged and involved. And then there was some that I had very high expectations of. And once during the school year, I took my first graders because I was very adamant about them learning to read on a field trip to the library. As a matter of fact, the one over here on Spring Street. Okay. And the very parents who were ever involved and ever engaged were there as chaperones.
Of course. Yeah.
So I was always, as a teacher, I was always extremely grateful for parents who were involved and engaged.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So, I like your thinking. Tell a parent something good about their child and they'll be more receptive to what you have to say. So if you ever have to talk about a child to a parent in a conference or whatever, in a disciplinary action, start off with something good.
Oh, yeah. Something
Start
positive.
off with something good. Don't even let them know that you're going to talk about anything bad.
Right.
And have the conversation. And then let the parent talk about the child.
Sure.
Let the parent open up. And then say, we need to talk about, something else also. This is what's been going on.
Yeah.
And then they might be more receptive.
Sure.
Instead of a phone call or, you sit down for a conference and they start off with something bad. I remember my child, I had a teacher one time start off with, when he comes into class, we get started on his time. We're on his agenda. He is running the class. And I'm thinking, and you're the teacher?
Right. Right.
I just kind of shut down immediately because she's basically telling me that she's letting my child run her class for the first, 10 minutes of each classroom. She didn't have control of the class. She didn't have control of my child.
Right.
I said, well, spank him. But, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. When my grandmother was teaching, there was spankings day in, day out. She taught in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Where you put that ruler to that behind. But now.
You know something?
Yeah.
They were doing that when I was in middle school and elementary school. And when the child got sent to the principal's office, they're going to get a lick. That's what they called it, a lick. Sometimes they got 2 licks, and then they would come back crying. You know what? They were good for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They'd be good for 2 weeks. And then, maybe they had to be yelled at again or just redirected.
Right.
But that paddling worked. It wasn't a paddle, like paddle, paddle, paddle. It was, they called it a lick. It was one.
Yes.
They bent over the principal's desk and they get that whack with that paddle. And I'm sure the principal sometimes didn't do it as hard. They just wanted to scare the kids,
But it was something that worked.
It did.
And
then
right.
after the third time going to the principal, maybe he really did it for real. Because it was the same boys. It was always the same boy, and it was never girls.
Yes. And if I think the girls would sit somewhere and talk about each other, and then they would lean to gospel, okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, girls gossip, boys act out.
Yes, but it was a point of accountability. It was accountability, but it just goes back to something good. I don't care if he comes in the classroom happy-go-lucky type of kid, you let the parent know.
Yeah.
And then like with your son, would be more willing to open up with dialogue if you heard something positive first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with my son, he was just highly intelligent.
He wasn't being challenged. Was it being challenged?
Probably not enough. No. Well, they had him in Pats in kindergarten, and that it was so much of a challenge that he kind of lost interest, because in kindergarten they have no concept of multiplication. He didn't even know how to add.
Right.
And they're giving him math problems, to multiply things, and of course he couldn't do that. They didn't expect him to do that, but that's what they were giving. It wasn't individualized.
Right.
He needed individual, teaching. And at the time, we couldn't afford a tutor, or we couldn't afford to send him to whatever place would have been the most appropriate for him.
Right.
So he went to Escambia County Public School.
Yes.
And I grew up in Escambia County Public School, and I know a lot of successful and good people who did grew up in our school system here.
That's true.
So there are a few schools where I think the parents need readjusting. Because if the overall student body in a school needs readjusting, I think it's the parents that need the readjusting, not the students.
Right.
Maybe the teachers.
Yes. Because again, it starts at home. If you're looking for us to raise them, they're at school from 7 o'clock in the morning to 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. How much, that's the bulk of their time.
Yeah.
So the teacher is going to be more influential to them in the classroom than sometimes a parent is, and it should not be.
Well, that's why it's important to have good nurturing. That's what I was saying, nourishing. It's nurturing teachers, and a schedule that they have at school, but to get the social agendas out. Keep the social agendas out of school. Teach them reading, writing, and math. And as far as nurturing they need to nurturing from home. They don't go to school to be nurtured.
That's correct.
But of course, when there are disciplinary actions, it's the way that it's handled in school that makes a difference. Right. Because you can really turn a child around by being gracious and firm.
Yes.
You have to be firm.
That was my style.
Love it. Yeah.
When it comes to social issues, we're looking at, when you look at the system, you're looking at producing the next scientist, the next mathematician.
Our future leaders.
Not DEI.
Thank you.
Not because DEI to me stands for didn't earn it. You didn't earn it. And you're not looking at pushing the trans LGBTQIA plus alphabet soup.
Right.
You're not there for that, because at the end of the day, we're competing not only statewide, but against the rest of the world. The rest of the world is not interested in how maybe he can wear a pair of heels. That is not the issue.
Right.
Can he compete when it comes to math, when it comes to science, when it comes to English, when it comes to those subjects?
Can he support a family when he grows up?
Absolutely. So let's just push the social issues out of the picture. And that was something that, going to school, that was something that we didn't have to concern ourselves with. But
I know. I never
we didn't have to
thought,
concern ourselves with that.
This is the twilight zone. It is just so weird nowadays with all these social issues. I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
I never fathomed it growing up.
No.
You know?
Yeah. So, yeah.
So it's been so nice talking with you. I'm just having
Likewise.
a blast.
Likewise.
So what else? So I remember I saw you at the Trump birthday bash
Yes,
a few years ago.
yes.
And you had your pink cowboy hat.
yes, America First. That's
Yeah,
right.
That was fun.
Yes, it was. It was a lot of fun. It was looking at a man and looking at a man who just simply loved this country, just simply wants to put America first. And
They didn't let Trump be Trump, but go ahead.
and
With the people he's appointing now,
Yeah.
I think he's like, okay, this is my last shot. I'm not going to get another shot after this.
No.
I have nothing to lose. I'm going to be the bull in the china cabinet and actually do this time.
Yeah. And a lot of America woke up after looking at 8 years of free speech being silenced, inflation, wars, the invasion at the border. America was the laughing stock for the rest of the world. And now we've jumped into politics, but but basically it's just common sense. So what kind of conservative would I consider myself to be? Common sense. People choose their judges, their mayors that best reflects their values. And over the last 4 years of this outgoing administration, we saw 3 values being attacked. It was their values with Mick Mulvaney and Anheuser-Busch. A lot of Americans were not okay with that. It was their pocketbooks because people's money, the taxpayer dollar was going out to other countries, and you're bringing in that doesn't represent their interest. So the cost of everything goes up. And also their children. You don't go after anybody's children. As a mother, you can identify with that.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to those 3 values, those types of legislations being passed that is messing with those 3 values, America woke up. And as
I
a
agree
result
with
of
you.
that, we got with the White House back, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, and the popularity vote, because 8 years ago, the American people remembered the America First values that were being instilled.
I agree with you. I love it. Thank you.
That is what happened. If anybody wants to know in a nutshell, those 3 values were being tampered with, and those are the 3 values that you do not tamper with. He was able to reach people that with everyday gas prices and mortgage and everything was being bothered. Those are the things that they care about. They don't care about someone who claims to be black whenever it was convenient. No. So that is what transpired.
I love your insight. I love bringing up topics and letting you just go with it.
Well, thank you for the opening up the floor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll have to have you back on next year. It's almost the end of the year, so we'll have you on early next year.
Be honored.
The Thornton Review is on the air to provide public service awareness and intellectual infrastructure to our community. The show is made possible by our guest, Ida Gates, Godly Teas LLC, and her website is www.godovergovernment.fyi. Go check it out. We want to thank you for watching this episode of the Thornton Review. Bye-bye. You can watch our program on Pensacola Urban Network, Praise TV on WBQP 12.1, WBQP 12.8 Sundays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m., WBQP Praise TV on Roku Television Network, or download Praise TV on Google Play Store or Amazon Fire. Our website, thethorntonreview.com, and our Facebook page, The Thornton Review Show.